The Lakers have fired Mike Brown. What's next? We discuss on STNTV. Welcome on inside Voice of the Nation Fast Break. My name is Dave Brickley, alongside Kevin Figures. We knew this season was going to be all about drama, a lot of storylines involved. 5 games in, Mike Brown, you're not doing your job. Hit the road.
Who would have saw it coming 5 games into the regular season? I know fans were upset with Mike Brown, but I mean, 5 games in, it's a little soon, is it not?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I just think that if you look at the preseason, I don't put a lot of credence into the preseason, but they are 0-8. So you're kind of sitting there like 0-8, even though Dwight Howard played and Steve Nash played.
They're throwing out Robert Sacre and guys like that, too.
I get that. But then you lose, the last 2 playoff games from last year. Mike Brown has lost 14 of his last 15 games.
That's one way to look at it.
That's no joke, and especially when you have all this talent, arguably one of the best starting lineups ever assembled. I know Steve Nash has only played a game and a half.
Right.
All that being said, you should be beating the Utah Jazz and a Dallas Maverick team without Dirk Nowitzki.
I'll agree with that. And look, Mike Brown has not gone off to the greatest start from the very beginning in his Laker career, obviously. I mean, there was rumors that Kobe Bryant didn't even want him. They didn't consult with Kobe Bryant when he was hired. Laker fans weren't very pleased with the hiring of Mike Brown to begin with. So a lot of them are going to be pleased no matter what.
And I said last week, and I've always said this, how do you follow Phil Jackson? I mean, that's like following the Beatles. I mean, you don't do it. I mean, the guy won 5 championships. You have to come in, win right away.
Yeah.
You can't have any road bumps, and he did not succeed at that.
Yeah, you have to have the Barry Switzer kind of thing. You follow Jimmy Johnson, you come in and go straight to the Super Bowl. That's the only way that's the only measure of success you can have.
I mean, it's championship or bust. If you don't succeed at a high level, the fans will stop coming. They won't support you. So this is a winning franchise. I think outside of not winning and starting the season 1-4, his rotations were bad.
They're very odd.
This Princeton offense, I'm sorry, that's never going to work. The defense, which Mike Brown is known for, one of the best defensive coaches in the league, the defense was terrible.
Yeah.
So everything that he was trying to implement, plus the stuff he was already good at, he was failing.
Yeah, and the defense was key for me. I always say give the Princeton offense time because it is very complicated for guys to learn. But for you to tout yourself as a defensive coach and for them to be in the bottom third in pretty much every defensive statistical
when you have Dwight Howard, a 3-time defensive player of the year,
and Kobe Bryant, who's still an admirable defender, Metta World Peace, is in the best shape he's been in 3 years. Something didn't equate.
And the rotations, like I talked about too. I mean, why are you playing Darius Morris and Devin Ebanks when you got Jody Meeks and Anton Jameson this season, and Jordan Hill's playing well as well? It just seems like, and then he put the starters back in when they were up by 22.
Right.
I mean, it seems like this is a high school coach trying to prove a point to these young men, where it's like, dude, we're trying to win a championship. We don't got time for these games.
All right, so now he's out the door. So the question to you now, Dave, is who do you replace him with?
Obviously, you've heard names like Darius Sloan, Mike D'Antoni. I don't think they make this move without at least making a few phone calls and kind of putting a few feelers out there.
Right.
And I think Phil Jackson's in Montana, and Jeannie Buss called Phil and said, Phil, what do you think? Are you healthy enough? And I think there's a part of me that thinks Phil Jackson will come back. Why not? You Coach Steve Nash. I think he's always liked Steve Nash. He gets Dwight Howard. I mean, this is like 2000 all over again. Put the triangle. You got Dwight as Shaq. You got Kobe as Kobe, and you got a better point guard. I think it fits if Phil Jackson is healthy enough.
Well, look, we're talking about complicated offenses. Now, obviously, Kobe and Powell played in the triangle, so they have some experience in it. But what does Dwight know about it? What does Steve Nash know about it? I mean, aren't you kind of putting yourself in the same situation about learning an offense?
Two of your best players, Powell and Kobe, know it like the back of their hand, and Dwight Howard just go in the middle like Shaq used to do and ask for the ball. I mean, I don't think it's not the Princeton offense.
No, it's not, but it's a structured offense that takes some time to learn as well.
And
I think about learning on the fly without a training camp.
You need to have a guy that everybody respects and also that can manage personalities. Nobody's better than Phil Jackson. I also think Jerry Sloan is good at that as well. If you want the pick and roll with Nash and Howard to work, Jerry Sloan could do a little bit of Stockton and Malone for you maybe.
The big word for me that you said was respect, and I just don't think that players off the bat really respected Mike Brown. And like you said, tough proposition following Phil Jackson. Jerry Sloan was the kind of guy that you needed to follow Phil because he was one of the only guys out there that players would have gotten respect right off the bat. So that's the kind of coach, whether it be Phil. Mike D'Antoni, I think to a lesser extent. I know Kobe Bryant, he played for him for Team USA. He has a lot of respect for him for obviously playing over in Italy. Steve Nash played for him. So there's some familiarity there.
There's no defense there. And if you're in the NBA Finals against the Heat, I don't trust D'Antoni to put up a defensive scheme to stop LeBron away.
And that's it. You win championships based off of defense, which is why they brought Mike Brown in. Obviously, the defense wasn't working. You're not going to win a championship with Mike D'Antoni. You may score 135 points a game, but you're giving up 138.
All right, so we'll throw it to you. First and foremost, do you agree with the firing of Mike Brown just 5 games into the regular season? And who do you think the Lakers should choose to replace him? Make sure to comment below, like this video, and of course, subscribe to our channel. For Kevin Figures, my name is David Brickley, STNTV.